Welcome to this tutorial on defining a question for your dissertation, brought to you by Reading University's Study Advice team. It is designed for you to go through at your own pace, and you can pause it at any time. While some of you may come to your research project with a clear question in mind, many more of you will have an idea of a subject area. Moving to a question can be an anxiety-provoking time as you feel the need to get started with your dissertation quickly. But this is an important step, and there are a number of ways forward. Good research comes once you've fully explored a subject area. Identify areas within your modules that interest you. To help generate ideas around the topic, you could read around it and chat to friends, and maybe start to think about specific areas of interest. Also, be alert when reading for ideas. You can often find ideas for research suggested at the end of journal articles. These can help to generate more specific questions and offer suggestions for methodology. Often students think they have a question, when in reality what they have is a topic area or a subject. You may need to ask yourself a series of questions to help you through this stage. You might, for instance, be interested in children's picture books, but this in itself is not a question. What is it about them that interests you? Is it how they can be used to develop reading skills in young children or develop their imagination, or perhaps how they've developed over the past 20 years? Trying to think of a question as a problem may also help. What is it you're trying to find out about your topic, and why? Another way to generate a question is by brainstorming. You can do this by thinking about the potential questions you're looking to answer, and then try and prioritise these. You might want to group some together and look at some sub-questions or breaking some of the questions down further. The trick here is finding something that's manageable within the time and word count that you have. Once you have a question in mind, it's worth checking that it's fit for purpose. Checking it against the following criteria will ensure that it's robust enough. This is also the sort of criteria your supervisor will be thinking of. Firstly, it's important that your topic is of interest to you. It's going to be with you for a while, and you'll need the motivation to continue with it. But interest in a topic alone is not enough. There also needs to be some existing literature in the area you've chosen to focus on. So have a quick look on the library database to see if there's anything on your chosen field to help frame your study. You'll also need to ensure that your question is the right level of depth. Questions that are too broad will offer too much material and not allow you to pursue your subject in the depth it needs. Equally, questions that are too specific will yield insufficient material, and you'll struggle to meet the word count required. A good question might have 2 or 3 sub-questions, which you'll be able to explore further. You'll also need to consider what's feasible in the time that you have. If you intend to do some primary research, do you have access to your sample? Will you be able to interview the people you need? For instance, are you going to be able to interview the children about their thoughts on certain picture books, or might you be better getting parents' perspectives? It's worth considering what's realistic and possible before you define your question. The best questions are clear and simple. A muddled question will result in a muddled answer. This is when it'd be good to talk to friends and test out your question. Be open to the responses and feedback, and remember, research questions need to be shaped and crafted, and spending time at this stage will indeed save you time later on. Finally, remember, research questions need to be flexible and not necessarily set in stone. As you continue to research your area, you might find that your question changes slightly. Be open to this and allow for some flexibility as you move through the process. So, some final tips on defining your question. Firstly, explore your topic in some depth before deciding on a set question. Read around the subject, chat to friends, and sound out your ideas. And finally, remember, good questions are clear and simple. They hold some interest to you, and they offer some literature for which you can frame your study.